Greetings and welcome to Fit at 60 and Beyond, where you don't have to be 60 or beyond, but we do challenge you to be fit holistically, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And today I'm going to jump right into it because I want to share with you today some thoughts on making decisions. With everything that is going on now worldwide, we have so many decisions that we have to make for ourselves, for our family members. You know, some of our states have opened back up. Do I go to work? You know, I'm torn between I'm not comfortable going to work with I need to go to work to support my family. When schools open back up, do I send my children to school? Do I, go out and engage in some of the things that I have engaged in before? We have all of these decisions that we have to make on top of the, normal day-to-day decisions that we have to make anyway. So things have gotten so overwhelming, and I don't know about you, but I've gotten overwhelmed with some of them. And, I was just thinking about decisions and how I make decisions and how I've witnessed other people make decisions. So I just wanted to share some thoughts with you. This is not a complete list. Hopefully something on it will help you and will resonate with you. But I have 7 things to consider when making decisions. The first one, you all know, some of you who have been with me and this is your first time, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so very much. The first thing, I always start with is prayer. I pray for wisdom. I pray for guidance. I pray for discernment in helping me to make sound, competent, logical, intelligent, wise decisions. I'm always in prayer for that anytime that I'm making a decision. And then also praying for the direction and guidance and what direction I need to go in and what it is that I need to do. So for me, that's the first thing. The second thing is research. Y'all, between, all of these platforms that we have, via the internet, the worldwide internet, we have a wealth of information at our fingertips. So you've got to research. If it means Googling it, if it means going on YouTube, seeking different sources of information to help you make a decision is so very important. Looking at individuals or talking to individuals who may have been through, some of the same experiences that you're going through now. And, these 7 steps are not just for what we're going through now with this pandemic, but they can span to other areas of your life as well. So, when I'm talking about individuals, granted, no one's been through what we're going through now. So that's kind of a difficult one for this particular pandemic and what we're going through and decisions that you have to make with this particular situation. But other situations in your life, who can you talk to that has been through a similar situation and you see the outcome of that situation that they've been through and that works for you? Having a conversation with them as to how they went about it, the decision that they made in order to, come up with that particular solution. So other people who have been through it, as well as researching, going online, the internet, Google, YouTube, those sorts of things to help you make a sound decision. And then this is something that I used to always tell my students when I was a counselor. This is number 3. I always tell them to write 2 columns. You can do it however you choose to do it. Pros and the cons. After you've done your research, after you've talked with individuals who have gone through that similar circumstance, or maybe they haven't gone through it, and that's another thing too. Maybe they haven't gone through it, but they may be able to share some ideas or thoughts that they have as to the process that they're going through in making a decision. So you want to write down all of your pros. What are the What are the pros of, I think I know what it is that I want to do, and I've got to write down the pros, the positives. What are the cons? What are the negatives of making this decision? What are the pros of when school opens, if I determine to send my child back to school, versus the cons? And if I don't, what alternatives do I have? You know, homeschooling is becoming very popular now. People who never considered it before are now considering it, you know, and I'm just using that as an example. I don't want to get stuck on that, but just utilizing that as an example, looking at your pros and all the possible outcomes, looking at your cons, all the possible outcomes, and then determining from there what it is that you feel you can live with. Looking each of the pros, what can I live with? Or the cons, what can I live with? The outcome of each of those. The fourth thing, and I saw this somewhere, and I can't remember where I saw it, but it spoke to not giving into impatience. I'm going to make a decision because I'm impatient, because I'm tired of staying in the house, or I'm sick of doing this, or I'm sick of doing that. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this decision based on impatience. Y'all, sometimes I know it's hard, preaching to myself. We have to be patient in the process of making decisions. We have to be patient in determining what could inevitably be a life-changing decision that we're making. We don't want to make it hastily. So we need to be patient with that. Another thing that we want to look at, number 5, is what is your motivation for making this particular decision? Is it a self-centered motivation, or is it a selfless motivation? And how will it affect other people? Not only yourself, but how will it affect other people in your life? That's something to think about because, you know, sometimes when we make decisions, we don't think about how it affects other people. And it's not until after we've made the decision or after that decision has unfolded that we see how it affects other people in our lives. And then sometimes we start second guessing that decision. Or sometimes we're solid in that decision. But then, you know, there are times when we second guess it because we're not thinking about, you know, the other people in our lives and how it will affect them. We're thinking about, you know, ourselves, which we certainly need to do. Don't get me wrong. We certainly need to do, but we also need to think about how this decision will affect other people as well. Peer pressure, number 6, where everybody else is doing it, or, you know, everyone else has made a decision and I haven't made a decision yet, and they're waiting on me to make a decision. That goes back to me, that kind of goes hand in hand with patience. You know, not succumbing to peer pressure or what other people are telling you you should do, because sometimes their input is based on their agenda. Ooh, marinate on that. Their input is based on their agenda, not necessarily for the betterment of yourself or for what's best for you, but it's based on their agenda. And I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just sharing based on experience. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But peer pressure, what is the objective of that person's input in giving you advice on making a decision one way or another, which goes back to the whole prayer and discernment thing. Because when someone is giving you advice or sharing or maybe pressuring you into a certain decision, that's where that wisdom and discernment comes in, being discerning and having the wisdom. Are they sharing this because it's in my best interest, or are they sharing it because perhaps it's in their best interest and achieves a goal for their particular agenda? Just throwing it out. Also, when you're making decisions, and Clark Garrison, shouts out to my Clark Garrison. This is something that he shared with me when I first started radio, and that is to be solid in what you will do or what you won't do. Be solid in your your values, your integrity, where you stand with those things. You have to know who you are as a person. You have to know your character and what it is that you will stand up for, what it is that you won't stand up for. You know, all of these things are things that, as I have journeyed, you know, through life, I've learned through trial and error, mistake, and successes that have helped me in my decision making. And I can recall, I used to tell this to my students all the time, again, and I don't remember where the origin of it was, but I used to tell them when they made a decision about something, I used to say, the decision that you make, when you make a decision, you automatically inherit the consequence of that decision. Be it a positive consequence, a negative consequence, be it a known consequence or an unknown consequence, you always inherit the consequence, positive or negative, of whatever decision it is that you're making in life. So those are just some 7 quick decision making strategies that I utilize. Prayer, meditation, research, weigh the pros and cons, being patient, looking at the motivation behind the decision, not succumbing to peer pressure, and is it in alignment with my values, my morals, my goals. So I hope that helps somebody. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you're seeing, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can check me out across the social media platforms, Paula G Voice, generally speaking, it's Paula G Voice across all platforms. I hope this helps somebody, and until next time, embrace the journey. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, gang, this is our fitness segment for today. And since, you know, we've been in this shelter in place and lockdown situation, I have to confess that I have been a little bit, shall we say, lax in my workouts, because those of you who've been following me, you know I work out like a beast in the gym. I have an amazing trainer. Y'all don't tell him I just said that, okay? I have an amazing trainer. And, you know, since we've been in this situation, I've kind of not been as diligent as I, you know, need to be or should have been. But, you know, I'm human, just like, you know, we're all human, and, you know, we all kind of have our faults and idiosyncrasies and so forth. So that is my confession for today. And that happens sometimes. I kind of fall off the train for whatever reason, but I always get back on. That's the thing, is you always got to get back on. So definitely we'll get back up to speed. You know, we'll resume the gym at some point in time. But for now, I am doing workouts at home and walking every day. I have my daughter and I, we have our steps and we have goals. You got to set your goals. Whatever your goals are for your steps, set those goals. So if, say, for example, your goal is 3,000 steps a day, but there's a particular day that you only do 2,000. Celebrate those 2,000, okay? So just a quick exercise today for some of you. A lot of you always asking me about abs, and, you know, a lot of us know the traditional way that we do abs, but here's a simple, easy way, or at least I think it's a simple, easy way. Hopefully it will help you, that you can get some ab working. So I'm just sitting in a chair, hands behind my back, head, feet flat on the floor, and I'm just curling up, and I'm tightening my abs while I'm doing this. Just curling in, tightening your abs while you're doing this, okay? And those of you who maybe haven't worked out in a long time, or, you know, back issues, whatever it is, just sit in a chair, tighten those ab muscles. Come in, tighten those ab muscles. Do as many as you can. Hopefully that will work for you. Until next time, embrace the journey.